When spicy gluten strips arrive in the immortal cultivation world, what kind of bloody storm will they cause? The male protagonist named Yi Feng is a transcender. He is practicing calligraphy in his own dojo. I alone am honored in heaven and on earth. At this moment, the system suddenly prompts. You have a new task appearing. Yi Feng disdainfully said. Speak quickly if the system has something to say. Fart quickly if there's a fart to release. The task this time is to elevate your culinary skills to the equal to a god stage. Completing the task will reward you with an aura. If you fail, it will be business as usual. I will reclaim your dojo. Yi Feng, although he detests the dog system, is very curious about this aura, so he directly accepted the task. In just a few days, Yi Feng's culinary skills have become extremely exquisite. Utilizing his culinary skills, he unexpectedly created spicy gluten strips in the immortal cultivation world. He casually threw the spicy gluten strips to the dog. The dog, after eating it, instantly stabilized the Yaoguai sovereign stage it had just achieved. With such skill, Yi Feng began to enjoy his future snack business. One day, he will definitely establish his own brand. Just as he was indulging in his dreams, a knock suddenly came at the door. The visitor was none other than the person sent by the Sky Wolf Emperor to find the little dog. The little dog used a secret code to say to him, Uncle Cloud, you need to leave quickly. This is not a place where you can stay. I will come to find you outside the city later. Upon hearing the dog's secret code, the old man pretended to have entered the wrong door and quickly turned to leave. Soon, the little dog arrived in front of the old man. With tears in his eyes, the old man said, There's trouble in the tribe. Yi Feng, with the Crimson Sun lineage, has launched a civil war against us. Your father, the Emperor, is about to be overwhelmed. Come back home with me quickly. The dog still harbors lingering fears over his father's expulsion. That place is no longer my home. My home now is only the dojo. The old man said. In fact, after your father learned that you defeated Magnificent, he started to look at you with new eyes. If you go back now, he will definitely welcome you. You no longer need to rely on that broken-down dojo to shelter yourself. Upon hearing this, the dog instantly became enraged, releasing its Yaoguai sovereign's spiritual pressure. But instead of intimidating the old man, this move made him happy. Wow! The Royal Prince 3 is amazing. No wonder old Jean said you are the savior of the royal family. Come back with me quickly. As long as you make a move, the Crimson Sun lineage will crumble. The dog didn't listen to him and turned to leave before he could finish. As he walked away, he left a remark. Although I won't come back, out of respect for my mother's face, I can help you. Wait here. I will come back later and give you something to help you through this difficult situation. After returning home, the dog came to Yi Feng and started drooling. Seeing this, Yi Feng casually tossed it a few spicy gluten strips. Delivered the spicy gluten strips to the old man. Uncle Cloud, you take this back. At a critical moment, let my father try 2 pieces. The old man didn't know what it was. Out of curiosity, he licked it, and instantly a miracle happened. Despite cultivating for over 80 years without breaking through to Yaoguai King, he unexpectedly broke through at this moment. The old man exclaimed, Spicy gluten strips are awesome. The dog said, This is just a little trick from the owner. There's no need to be too surprised. You take it back. I have to hurry back now. The old man held the spicy gluten strips in his hand, tears welling up in his eyes. This is not just spicy gluten strips. This is the hope of my Sky Wolf clan, he said. Shortly after, the old man returned to the Sky Wolf tribe, informing the Wolf Emperor and 3 royal princes that he couldn't come back due to urgent matters. However, he asked me to bring back a treasure that could turn the tide of the battle. Please have the Wolf Emperor take a look. The Wolf Emperor looked left and right, but he couldn't shake the feeling that this thing didn't seem like a treasure. I found that you are becoming more and more like old Jean, fond of talking nonsense in front of me. What crime should you be charged with for conspiring with my useless son to deceive me, the Emperor? I really did not deceive you, and the 3 royal princes are not the useless ones you described. He has now received help from a master, and has reached the Yogwai sovereign stage. If you don't believe it, you can try a bite. Based on the years you have assisted me, I will give it a try. If it's not as you said, I will execute you. After saying that, he picked up the spicy gluten strips and started eating. Afterwards, with one bite, he soared into the air on the spot, his eyes shooting out waves of golden light. And a sacred dragon also emerged from his crotch. These spicy gluten strips unexpectedly contain such powerful Tao's essence. It looks like I'm about to break through. I must find a place to dissipate the heat in my body. Thinking of this, he directly broke through the roof and flew out. Then he came to his wife. After seeing his wife, the energy inside him completely exploded. He, who could only last 3 seconds on normal days, actually persisted through the whole night after eating spicy gluten strips. When I saw him, the room was already in ruins. The lady lying on the bed was in tears. Only she knew what she had experienced last night. After the end, he found the old man. Now I've already broken through to half of the Yogwai sovereign stage, all thanks to you. Just as the two were talking, a servant came to report that Yi Feng, with the Crimson Sun lineage, is coming to fight. He came at just the right time. Since I just had a breakthrough, let's use him as a punching bag. Once on the battlefield, the 2 dogs immediately started fighting. After this round of fists, Yi Feng was shocked. How did you, this grandson, also break through to the half-sovereign stage? He thought he would easily defeat the Wolf Emperor, but now it has turned into a prolonged battle. At this rate, it may take a year to finish. Yi Feng then took out the Seal Testicle Dan, which can instantly increase one's power by 100-fold. Are you crazy? If you take it and manage to defeat me, you will also reduce half of your lifespan. As long as I can let the Crimson Sun lineage rule the tribe, I'm willing to die immediately, let alone reducing half of my lifespan. After saying that, he directly threw the pill into his mouth. With the pill's blessing, the battle became one-sided. He soon rendered the Wolf Emperor unable to move. Next, Yi Feng flew into the air and gathered a Genki Dama. At this life-or-death moment, Wolf Emperor took out spicy gluten strips. After eating it, his energy instantly fills up. Then he gathered energy into his left hand and unleashed a Kamehameha attack, which pierced right through the Genki Dama. Yi Feng was also burned to powder by this attack. The leader is dead, and the remaining men had no choice but to surrender. In this way, the Sky Wolf clan, because of Yi Feng's spicy gluten strips, unified Yi Feng. How awesome! 3 uncles stood at the door for a full 5 hours just to understand the profound meaning of the couplet on the door. How does a simple 2-sentence contain the great Tao? At this point, Yi Feng inside the house finally couldn't help but come out. If you like this couplet, just let me know, and I will write a few more for you. Old Wu and the other 2 immediately refused on the spot. Sir, you have already given us more than 10 copies intermittently. We have work to do in the field and might not have time to appreciate them all. Leaving them untouched would be disrespectful. Indeed, after all, your energy is limited. I won't force you. Little did they know, Old Wu and the other 2 actually couldn't handle it anymore. The Tao's essence contained in Yi Feng's writing is too strong. If they continue like this, they are afraid they may have qi deviation. Just as Yi Feng went back to the room, Xianxia walked over. My body has almost recovered, and I also want to help with the work in the field. I have another arrangement for you. Our dojo has not received any disciples so far, mainly because we lack a signboard. I am planning to shape you into a kung fu young hero. After saying that, he brought Xianxia to the center of the dojo. Master Blade Arts is now able to rival the gods, relying on these 3 moves. Chop. Hack. After seeing this move, Xianxia was completely confused. How is this 3 moves? Clearly, this is just one move. Just as he was questioning it, the wooden stake that Yi Feng had just split suddenly exploded. Whether you can block this move that I have practiced for 20 years is entirely up to you. As long as you are fast enough, your opponent will be unable to identify your moves. To them, it may seem like you are using the same move repeatedly. Zhong Qing saw the situation and immediately exclaimed, "Boss, you're awesome!" Just as the words fell, the two of them saw a curvy beauty walking over. Yi Feng said, "This is the dojo, not the red fragrance courtyard. Have you come to the wrong place?" When Yi Feng said that, the head lady instantly got angry and said, "Your dojo's Sir Skeleton is here at our red fragrance courtyard, whining and dining, calling over more than 10 girls at once. In the end, this jerk ran off without paying. It's truly shameless." Yi Feng and Zhong Qing were both puzzled. Who is Sir Skeleton? There is no such person in our dojo at all. Have you made a mistake? Upon hearing this, the lead sister wiped off her lipstick, and in the next moment, the group of people transformed into 3 burly men digging in their feet, then started cursing loudly. "I'm wrong? Your grandma's leg. Is it easy for us to do business? There are freeloaders these days. Have you no conscience?" Seeing 3 beauties instantly transformed into burly men, Yi Feng was shocked. He didn't expect that the immortal cultivation world also had such dark magic. Just then, Sir Skeleton walked over. Seeing this, the 3 hurriedly said, "It's him! Quickly, catch him!" Sir Skeleton got scared and ran away. Finally, Yi Feng understood that Sir Skeleton was just a broken skeleton, which infuriated Yi Feng. In a moment of desperation, he took off his shoes and threw them at Sir Skeleton. Sir Skeleton easily jumped onto the wall to dodge the shoes, and then escaped swiftly. The leader said, "If you don't pay us today, we're not leaving." In the end, Yi Feng could only hand over the money he saved for a month to her with tears in his eyes. The scene suddenly changed and Sir Skeleton was tied to a tree. Yi Feng, holding a small whip, fiercely thrashed him. The little centipede hiding in the corner was scared and trembling at the scene. "This guy is really hitting him. I can't let him catch me. But how can I get out? I thought I could escape by coming out of that spatial ring, but I didn't expect this dojo to be filled with martial intent fluctuations everywhere. I have to be extremely cautious with every step. I'm really in a difficult situation." Just then, the shoes on his head caught his attention. Upon closer inspection, he found that there was a space isolated from the outside world inside the shoes, perfectly shielding the martial intent fluctuations in the dojo. It's like a protective shield. Thinking of this, he jumped right in. Almost at the same time as he jumped in, the sky suddenly showed a huge red vortex. Old Wu and others stopped to watch this spectacle. Jean Fegu said, "When such a phenomenon occurs, it either indicates that a powerful figure's cave has been unearthed or a treasure is being born." After saying this, he prepared to fly up to take a look, but was stopped by Old Wu. "At this point, even a dung picker is smarter than you guys. What treasure can compare to following mastery?" A tomb of a martial saint rose from the ground in the immortal cultivation world. Powerful individuals from all over the continent came to plunder the treasures inside. Unexpectedly, the one who ended up obtaining the treasure was Sir Skeleton. A huge red vortex suddenly appeared over River Peace City. The trio of Old Wu from the protagonist group offered an explanation that this was caused by the tomb of a powerful figure being exposed above ground. There must be a lot of treasures hidden inside the tomb. This will inevitably attract powerful individuals from all around to compete for it. After discussing, the 3 of them decided not to get involved in this mess. And Lu Qingshan, upon learning about the matter, decided to go ask for Yi Feng's opinion. Yi Feng said that you, an old man like this, should just stay at home peacefully and enjoy retirement. Going there might very likely end up with boxed lunches. This statement made Lu Qingshan sweat profusely. If Mr. Yi Feng says so, then it seems that the ancient tomb must be extremely dangerous. After returning to the sect, he ordered that no disciple should go to that ancient tomb. All sects that want to join him in robbing the tomb are also refused. The scene suddenly changes, and some reckless cultivators have already arrived in front of the ancient tomb. They have tried to force open the gate with their strength, but all their attempts have ended in failure. Just as everyone was at a loss, an old man walked out from the crowd. This person is the big elder of the sky-blowing gang, named Blow On and On. He is in charge of arranging the formations of the sky-blowing gang, and is quite experienced in unlocking. He walked to the front gate and tried for a long time, but in the end, he still couldn't open it. He turned around and explained, "It's not because I'm too incompetent that I can't open it, it's because the person buried here is too extraordinary." This is the yin-yang 5 elements 8 trigrams formation. In addition to the heavenly gate on the ground, there should be an earthly gate underground as well. There are only 2 ways to enter the ancient tomb. The first way is to break it open by force, but the attacker's attack power needs to surpass that of the formation. But this is the tomb of a martial saint powerhouse, so the formation is at least of martial saint level as well. We are all a bunch of small fry here. The highest among us is only at the martial lord level. So, this approach is impractical. Another way is to send someone to infiltrate the underground gate. Simply open the switch inside the gate, and the stone gate will naturally open. But there are many traps inside the underground gate, and anyone who enters will definitely be risking their life. Everyone hearing this was ready to retreat. This is playing with their lives. Who would dare to enter? Just when everyone felt hopeless. As a loyal, licking dog stands up, he is willing to risk his life to help his goddess obtain the treasure inside. The goddess pointed at his chin and said, "Please, do not disappoint me." Just this sentence made the puppy, someone who blindly follows and pampers their love interest, drool with excitement, and then he began to dig into the ground. Everyone stood still on the ground waiting. The scene shifted to the side of Little Centipede, who had just run out of Yi Feng's dojo, muttering to himself, "I don't know what happened today. So many cultivators have come to this place. If things go south, there might be a bloody fight. I have to leave this cursed place quickly." Just as he spoke, the ground beneath his feet suddenly cracked open. He accidentally fell into the ancient tomb of the martial saint. He thought carefully and realized that those cultivators couldn't enter anyway, so he might as well just hide here for a while. Out of curiosity, he started wandering around in the ancient tomb. Due to his small size, he managed to evade the numerous traps. When he got tired, he even took a nap inside. After waking up, he started wandering around again. At this point, he thought to himself, "If someone outside comes in, wouldn't I be like a fish in a barrel?" So he decided to leave. Although he was small in size, there were too many traps inside. In case of an accident, he might end up in deep trouble. Thinking about this, it used its ultimate move, the shadow clone technique, planning to use these clones to pave the way. But what it didn't expect was that one of its clones accidentally pressed a switch while running away. This accidental press actually coincidentally opened the outer gate. The cultivator outside the door, seeing the situation, began to crazily rush inside. 3 sacred grade treasures appeared before their eyes as soon as they entered. They are respectively the celestial spirit rope, wind and cloud mace, and divine demon scissors. Although they are sacred grade treasures, it is said that users have used them to defeat powerful Emperor stage experts. 2 hotheads rushed over when they heard how awesome the treasure was. The moment they touched the treasure, their bodies turned into black smoke and received a box meal. Elder Blow from the sky-blowing gang continued on and said, "Everyone, don't panic. This is just the evil energy of the ancient tomb. The main door is now open. The evil energy will be released soon. Let's just wait here." Upon hearing Elder Blow from the sky-blowing gang's words, the crowd nodded in agreement. Just then, the little centipede triggered the mechanism inside again. A huge beam of light gushed out from the ancient tomb. Instantly, a painful wail echoed within the ancient tomb. The black mist seemed to be crazily slaughtering like a demon. Blow on and on until everyone is heavily injured and falls to the ground. Lu Qingshan rushed over after seeing the beam of light. He felt a chill down his spine at the scene before him. Thankfully, he heeded Master Yi's words, otherwise he might have been the one receiving the box meal. And at this moment, Sir Skeleton with his dog is secretly observing everything below in the clouds. The dark energy in the ancient tomb discovered the two of them, and charged straight towards them. The result was being crushed by Sir Skeleton with one hand. Propping his chin, he said helplessly, "This is really a boring trick." After resolving the black energy, a skeleton and a dog swaggered in. After entering, these two scoundrels' eyes instantly lit up. "Ching! Now we can make a fortune. The gold inside is enough for the two of us to hang out at the Red Fragrance Courtyard for at least 3 months." Just as they were happy, those 3 sacred grade treasures sensed it, and are now rushing over to kill. However, sacred grade treasures are still too weak for Sir Skeleton. 3 sacred grade instantly turned into scrap. The dog praised Sir Skeleton as awesome. After solving the problem, the two of them picked up the burlap sacks and started filling them. The ancient tomb full of treasures was instantly robbed clean. When they left, they even remembered to set a fire. After returning to the dojo, 2 little guys sneaked in from behind the master while Lu Qingshan visited. Then they arrived at the miscellaneous room of the dojo, ready to bury the gold under the floor. Just as the dog was digging, he suddenly asked a question. "Bro, I have always had a question. How do you use this skeleton body to solve those ladies in Red Fragrance Courtyard? Do you use the coccyx bone?" When Sir Skeleton heard this, he was instantly embarrassed. "Don't bring up my shortcomings, okay? You'll get beaten up if you go out like this. And am I such a vulgar person? What I want is to be surrounded by girls. Do you understand what I mean?" Just as he was immersed in it, Yi Feng suddenly kicked open the door. The flying door slammed directly into Sir Skeleton. "Which bloody bastard dares to plot against me?" As soon as he saw Yi Feng, Sir Skeleton immediately retreated and tightly guarded his money pouch. Yi Feng didn't say a word and directly knocked Sir Skeleton away. He opened it and saw that it was filled densely with gold. Sir Skeleton quickly explained that these were not stolen, but rather found accidentally by himself in the back mountains. Yi Feng picked up the money bag and said, "Thank you for adding some income to our family. Seeing how hard you've worked, I will leave some for you. Hold on to it well. Save some money. Don't forget to buy some tasty treats for your dog brother." He was originally a generation martial saint in the immortal cultivation world. I didn't expect that after his death, his own grave was dug up by later generations. After Sir Skeleton looted the ancient tomb empty, the cultivators saw that the danger in the ancient tomb had subsided. They then hurried back to the ancient tomb, eager to seize the treasures inside. But when they entered, they found that everything inside was gone. The 3 sacred grade items that had just been placed on the table had turned into junk. The primordial chaos cultivation method in the treasure chest had also been torn apart by someone. Everyone thought that the mechanism in the ancient tomb had destroyed them. They all started cursing loudly at the ancient tomb. "You immortal old thing, can't you leave something for the younger generations? Why do you still want to destroy these treasures even after you're dead?" Just as they were cursing loudly, the ground suddenly began to shake. Immediately after, a golden beam of light shot up from the ground. The ancient tomb instantly turned into ruins. After everything calmed down, an old man emitting golden light suddenly appeared. This person is the spirit of the martial saint in this tomb. Unexpectedly, the scolding voices actually called him out. The martial saint said, "There is no need to panic. I will not blame you for the act of tomb robbing." Without much ado, he continued, "Since the time of my passing until now has been 10,000 years. Before I pass on, there is one thing I regret, that no one has inherited my teachings. Leaving behind this tomb, I hope that after 10,000 years, someone will obtain my true teachings." Upon hearing this, everyone was overjoyed. Obtaining the inheritance of the martial saint is much better than finding treasures. The masked woman asked, "What kind of person can obtain your true teachings?" The martial saint replied, "It is not difficult to obtain my true teachings. In the first half of my life, I used a sword, but my talent in sword Dao was poor. I made little progress even by the age of 50. So, in the latter half of my life, I switched to playing the Qin zither. Finally, I reached the state of the martial saint through my Qin skills. However, after reaching the saint status, I could no longer find a piece of Qin music that moved me in the world. If any of you can present a piece of Qin music that moves me, you will receive my true teachings, and I will also gift you my emperor-grade Qin platform. Upon hearing this, everyone was shocked. The inheritance of the martial saint goes without saying. Just having an emperor-grade treasure places you in a prestigious position in the celestial river continent. All the immortal cultivators on the scene were eager to give it a try, as everyone has the ambition to become a top powerhouse. However, after a few days had passed, none of the cultivators' melodies had satisfied the martial saint. At this moment, Yi Feng also heard the distant sound of the zither. But he felt that these melodies lacked soul. This kind of music would not touch his heart. So he came to the street, prepared to play a piece to show everyone. But he never expected. Among the crowd was actually a cultivator hidden. The person who officially opened the door a few days ago is a bootlicker. His real name is Wu Jie. He copied Yi Feng's piano sound and turned it into a piano score. After he finished copying, he sprinted towards the direction of the ancient tomb. Soon he arrived in front of Martial Saint. Then he sprang up immediately. At the moment he played the piano, it seemed as if it was the sound of the great Tao. The surrounding onlookers felt ethereal upon hearing it. Martial Saint suddenly opened his eyes at that moment, and his body's golden light became even brighter. Yi Feng's original piece of music unexpectedly helped Martial Saint achieve a breakthrough. Martial Saint said, "You're quite good, kid. I will pass on all my lifelong learning to you next." Upon hearing this, Wu Jie revealed a lewd smile and said, "I never thought that this eternal loser would have a day of turning the tables." Everyone sent their blessings and cheered for him. The masked woman who had previously rejected Wu Jie also hurried forward. "I announce that you are officially joining my sword bitch sect," she declared. Wu Jie showed a smug expression and said, "I can join, but I have a condition. You must become my concubine." This statement greatly angered the masked woman. At this moment, Martial Saint descended from the sky and said, "Disciple, come closer. I will impart my knowledge to you." Wu Jie approached eagerly. Then, Martial Saint's expression turned sinister as he placed his hand on Wu Jie's head. The next moment, Wu Jie's face contorted in pain. Everyone realized that it was not an inheritance, but a body possession. Martial Saint was not seeking an heir, but a suitable vessel for himself. People tried to run, but found the exit blocked by a barrier. Martial Saint laughed and said, "This is the trap I set for thousands of years. I still need some nourishment to break through to the Grand Martial Emperor stage. You will serve as my nourishment." After speaking, he immediately sucked a hapless individual into his hand. A young and strong man was instantly turned into a dried corpse after being sucked in. Just at this moment, Martial Saint suddenly felt that something was wrong. He grabbed Wu Jie's neck and questioned, "Was the music score just now really written by you?" Wu Jie, already scared to tears, quickly said, "I didn't write this music score." Upon hearing this, Martial Saint grabbed him and ran off, demanding him to lead the way to find the real author of the score. Soon, they arrived at the front gate of Yi Feng Dojo. Old Wu and the other two had already sensed this aura and had been waiting at the door for a long time. Old Wu, with a domineering tone, said, "Anyone who dares to intrude the dojo shall not be spared." A man crossing over to the immortal cultivation world actually developed a handgun. And he even killed a Martial Saint-level immortal cultivator in one blow. At this time, Yi Feng is playing Go Bang with Lu Qishan. Yi Feng looked at the crumpled paper chessboard and said, "It's really a waste of paper to play like this. It would be great to have a wooden chessboard." Thinking about this, Yi Feng asked Lu Qishan if there were any wooden square tables. Lu Qishan looked nervous, thinking to himself, "Master Yi's cooking knife is even of sacred grade quality. If he wants a wooden square table, it has to be at least of sacred grade too." As a martial lord, where can I find a sacred grade square table? Just as he was feeling troubled, he suddenly felt a strong aura approaching the dojo. The arrival was the martial saint immortal cultivator, however. Yi Feng was calmly wiping his carved pistol, as if nothing was amiss. Seeing this situation, Lu Qingshan admired it greatly. Even in the face of a formidable enemy, the gentleman can remain so calm. The gentleman is impressive. Soon, Martial Saint arrived at the front of the Yi Feng dojo. And Old Wu and the other two had been waiting for a long time. Only Old Wu said domineeringly, "Stop right there! Those who dare to trespass the dojo will not be spared." And the things in front were being watched by the two persons on the wall, who kept blowing on and on. It's not common to see three martial lords fighting against one martial saint. But as soon as the words fell, the martial saint lightly palm struck and sent the three flying. And all three of them spat out blood from their mouths. The martial lord and martial saint are only separated by one level, but it's unexpected that their combat power differs so greatly. Old Wu and the other two endured the pain and stood up again. However, they were suddenly interrupted by a flying barrel. The newcomer was Master Lu, who was carrying a load of manure. The few people watching the show on the wall were once again shocked. They did not expect that this small dojo would actually have 4 martial lord experts. It seems that this dojo is not ordinary. However, even 4 martial lords are nothing but ants in front of a martial saint. The martial saint directly unleashes the ultimate move, Grand Void Finger, causing the power of the primordial chaos within the body to burst forth instantly. The red flame soars into the sky, its power so immense that it seems as if it could cut River Peace City in half. The dog in the storage room was frightened by this power, tail tucked between its legs. However, Sir Skeleton told him not to be afraid, just a little troublemaker, no need to worry about him. Lu Qingshan inside the house has already been scared by this power, trembling in fear. And Yi Feng is still playing with his carved pistol. At this moment, Yi Feng suddenly had a clever idea and pretended to shoot Bu. In Yi Feng's view, this was just a casual gesture. But in Lu Qingshan's eyes, he saw a different scene. What he saw was energy emanating from the muzzle, shooting out through the window. Seeing this, he immediately ran out to check the situation. Walking outside the door, the scene in front of him shocked him. Martial Saint's move not only stopped him, but also shattered one of his legs. Looking at his missing leg, he said, "It seems like a force unlike any in this world attacked me just now. It looks like there are masters in this dojo." Realizing that he was about to escape, but it was too late, this time I directly defeated the martial saint in one fell swoop. Onlookers witnessing this scene were frightened, with cold sweat streaming down their faces. A person who was getting close to Grand Martial Emperor suddenly disappeared, and it was done in a single strike. At this moment, Lu Qingshan suddenly saw the zither left behind by the martial saint after his death. He was extremely surprised. Isn't this the wooden square table that the master was looking for? And it's even an Emperor Grade 1. Later, he called Old Wu and 2 others to help pick up the zither stand. Several people sitting on the wall saw this scene. After a simple greeting, Xianxia asked, "What are you veterans doing?" "The gentleman is planning to carve this qin stand into a chessboard." Several people were shocked to hear this, as the Emperor Grade qin stand was going to be destroyed and turned into a chessboard. Such a talented individual must be visited. Lu Qingshan reminds that Mr. is experiencing life on Earth and often sees himself as a mortal. So, you all must not mention anything related to cultivate to him. Yi Feng slowly walked out after learning that someone had visited. Seeing Yi Feng's appearance, several people were quite surprised. They had thought the expert would be an old man, but they didn't expect him to be a young, handsome guy. Several girls were instantly conquered by Yi Feng. His image and temperament are simply perfect. The girl with purple hair said, "I am calligraphy qin painting. I have heard about the fairy music composed by the gentleman, so I came to visit." Yi Feng gave her a thumbs up and said, "Well, it turns out you're my female fan." Great, very spirited. Previously arrogant individuals suddenly turned into followers, one after another bowing to Yi Feng. Later, 3 girls followed Yi Feng eagerly, ready to enter the house. At this time, Wu Jia outside the door planned to sneak in to take a peek. He was caught red-handed by Lu Qingshan. Naughty boy. How dare you sneak a peek at the teacher's musical score and show off in public? You don't deserve to live in this world. Go to hell and repent. Sure enough, licking dogs won't have a good end. Looks like this brother is going to be packing takeaways soon. How awesome is this guy? The dog he raised is Sky Wolf Yogwai's sovereign. The living Qilan painting turned out to be his toilet paper. Just now, several cultivators came to visit as they heard about it. The crowd was instantly shocked as they walked into the house. The treasures scattered throughout the house are all at least of sacred grade level. At this moment, Yi Feng suddenly had a pained expression on his face. He stood up and said, "Miss Cloud, could you help me get the paper behind you?" She was instantly stunned after picking up the paper. This is a painting of a Qilan. And the Qilan in the painting is actually alive. She handed the painting to Yi Feng. Yi Feng actually tore the painting in half. Sorry, maybe he ate something wrong. I'll go to the bathroom for a while. Feel free to look around by yourselves. After Yi Feng left, the other 4 people fainted crying. This is an emperor grade level painting, and he actually took it to use as toilet paper. Because Yi Feng said they could look at it casually when he went out. So several people started to take a look. The things depicted in this painting create a unique artistic conception that I have never seen before. Is this a scene from ancient times? The old man on the side seemed to have found something different and exclaimed, "Everyone, come and take a look at this." Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be a few lines of text. "With hand that grasps the moon and plucks the stars, no one in the world can match my scars. I tread the sky and rend the cosmic dome, eternal, I stand forever alone." Upon seeing such poetic lines, several people were once again shocked. Is this the true portrayal of a master? The once proud girl suddenly felt like a bumpkin. And Yi Feng's action upon returning completely changed their perception. He directly used emperor-grade paper to wipe his hands. Then he casually threw it into the trash can. Everyone burst into tears at the sight. This is such a waste, isn't it? The girl with purple hair asked, "Do you usually use these paintings like this, sir? These are all sketches from before. They were going to be thrown away anyway. Using them as toilet paper or for wiping hands is a way of recycling waste." The arrogant young master from before was also conquered by Yi Feng's maneuvers. Adding up all the treasures of the sects in the South Sand region, I'm afraid it still wouldn't match the value of a single painting from his family. In other words, every time he goes to the toilet, it's as if he's wiping out our entire sect in just one moment of his astonishment. Yi Feng suddenly asked, "Zhongqing, do we still have stock of our spicy gluten strips at home? Bring some over for a few guests to try." Blow-on and On seemed puzzled, not knowing what spicy gluten strips were. Very soon, Zhongqing brought the spicy gluten strips to the table. But when it arrived, it made several people break out in a sweat. This child turns out to have celestial race bloodline. The celestial race bloodline naturally suppresses the bloodline of us ordinary people. As long as he approaches the blood in our bodies, there will be a situation of poor circulation. The suppression is so strong that it seems this person's combat power is at least at the martial saint stage, or even at the grand martial emperor stage. After a few exclamations, several people picked up the spicy gluten strips and started eating. After just taking a bite, the girls instantly felt like they were soaring. I didn't expect this tiny spicy gluten strip to give us an unprecedented sensation, making us feel like we were about to faint, floating between ecstasy and near death. In Yi Feng's eyes, this is just an ordinary snack. But in the eyes of several others, this is more precious than the divine herb elixir. In order to make a good impression on their teacher and out of respect, everyone dared not be too greedy and stopped one after another. Yi Feng thought that when he saw everyone stopped eating, it was because they didn't like the food. He then casually threw the remaining spicy gluten strips to the dog. The dog came out and almost scared everyone to death. It turned out to be a sky wolf Yogwai sovereign. Fortunately, this happened in the home of an expert. If it were in the wild, the few of us might have become its dog food. At this moment, Yi Feng said, "You are truly a good dog. Eat so cleanly and quickly. Go play with your brother, Sir Skeleton." At this moment, everyone also shed tears of regret. If I had known he would feed the dog, I would have eaten a few more myself. Because everyone was immersed in regret, the atmosphere instantly became much more awkward. Seeing that it was about to become awkward, Yi Feng quickly said, "Everyone, I was invited here by Egyo. I was supposed to play a few songs to express my gratitude, but unfortunately, a few strings on the guqin broke. I feel really embarrassed about it." As soon as he finished speaking, the girl with purple hair raised her hand and said, "Sir, coincidentally, I have a piece of Tianke silk at home. If you need it, I can go back and fetch it immediately." The blonde girl thought to herself, "This despicable girl is willing to offer the ancestral treasure of the Sky Demon Sect just to get close to Master Yi. She must have spent a fortune on this." At this moment, Yi Feng said, "Thank you, miss. As a token of my appreciation, I will give you a painting personally created by me." Upon hearing this, blow on and on, the three of them were instantly dejected. Why couldn't they have been the ones to receive this opportunity? The girl with purple hair, on the other hand, was overjoyed. She had already rushed out the door to retrieve the heavenly silkworm silk. After a while, the remaining few people also left the dojo. They all looked despondent. Such a great opportunity was actually seized by that little bitch from the Sky Demon Sect, so unwilling to accept it. At this moment, little Shuai suddenly had a clever idea. "Why don't we buy a house next to the gentleman? If we live there long term, we will definitely gain some opportunities in the future." The blonde girl explained that you are really a talented person. The scene shifted to the next door, where old Mr. Wang planned to rest in his room after finishing his work, but suddenly he heard a knocking at the door. Opening the door, he saw a few blonde girls. Little Shuai got straight to the point and said, "Hello, sir. We are here to buy a house." "What can you guys buy from this old man's house? You should go look elsewhere. The old man suggests you name a price. No matter how much it is, we can meet your needs. I'm a straightforward person. Money means nothing to me. Please leave, I won't sell it." Upon hearing the elderly man's words, Xiaoshuai gave a wink to the blonde girl. Immediately after that, a few people started threatening, "Old man, if you don't toast, you'll have to drink the penalty. We are all immortal cultivators." Old Mr. Wang ignored them and tried to leave, but one of them grabbed his shoulder. "How dare you, you old camper, to not show any respect?" This statement completely infuriated old Mr. Wang. He turned around and punched the fool who didn't know any better, sending him flying. He crashed directly into a tree. The people present were instantly scared and knelt down on the ground. I didn't expect that there were so many experts hidden in such a small place. An old farmer turned out to be at the level of Grand Marshal Emperor. The old man in front of me wearing a red vest and a straw hat is not simple. He only raises cattle at home and has reached the peak of an ordinary person's combat power, the level of Grand Marshal Emperor. Today, a few ignorant cultivators came and wanted to forcefully buy the elderly man's house. As a result, they were instantly killed by him with a single move. In order to buy a house near the male protagonist, cultivators looked at many houses again, but in the end, they found that the entire street was full of big shots. The little brothers behind them had already been beaten all over. Not willing to give up, they came to a Master Kong noodle shop. Thinking that a noodle chef should not be a master, Little Handsome walked in directly. As a result, when he came out, he had already been beaten into a pig's head. Xiao Shuai cried and said, "It's difficult to see a martial lord at home, but this little river piece city is full of Grand Marshal Emperors everywhere." The scene shifts to the purple-haired girl's side. The purple-haired girl is named Calligraphy Qin Painting. Upon her return, she reported her encounter with a master to her own mentor, Shifu Celestial Demon Nun. As a result, she was scolded by Nun. "You ungrateful wretch! After all these years of nurturing you, you're easily swayed by some rotten man. Tianqin Silk is the treasure of my Sky Demon Sect's main sect. How could you casually promise to give it to a stranger? What crime have you committed?" Calligraphy Qin Painting quickly explained that this expert could easily defeat the martial saint of the ancient tomb. The calligraphy and paintings of Emperor Grade are just his toilet paper. The things he creates effortlessly contain powerful Tao's essence. This person can no longer be measured by martial strength. I suspect he is an immortal being. Upon hearing this, the usually proud nun suddenly became interested. She is prepared to personally go see what kind of person this expert really is. As for the precious treasure of the sect, the celestial silkworm silk, she definitely will not bring it over. Soon 3 days passed, and the two arrived at the front gate of the Yi Feng dojo. Venerable Master said, "Judging from the martial intent on the signboard, the person inside is at most a martial saint. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have come." When he saw Yi Feng, he felt even more mediocre. Where is this expert? Clearly just a mortal. But when she reached the mural at the dojo, something unexpected happened. She suddenly felt her body being frozen. The next second, she felt as if she had entered a dreamland. A group of flower monks appeared around her, tearing her clothes to pieces. And then they did unspeakable things to her. 1 second in the real world is equivalent to 1 day in the dreamland. I don't know how long it took, but she was finally woken up by her disciple. Looking at the treasures filling the yard, she finally believed that the young man just now was indeed a mysterious and profound expert. Then the two of them entered the house. The next moment, she was stunned by Yi Feng's actions. This kid's wiping cloth unexpectedly contains a powerful Tao's essence. Seeing the scene, she urgently said to Calligraphy Qin Painting, "Disciple, quickly tell this esteemed master that we came in haste this time and forgot to bring the silkworm silk, but I will have elder from the sect send it over as quickly as possible." Only when disciple conveyed these words to Yi Feng did she come to know. It turns out that Yi Feng no longer needed their silkworm silk. The blonde girl sent the silk of the Grand Path as a substitute for the silkworm silk before they arrived. Yi Feng gave the blonde girl a pair of calligraphy and painting as a gift in return. Upon hearing these words, Nun felt extremely regretful. If she had known earlier, she should have listened to the disciple and arrived sooner. Such a great opportunity ended up being ruined by one's own hands. The two of them cried bitterly outside the door. Disciple even cried tears from his nose. On the way back, the two of them met old Mr. Wang next door to Yi Feng. Just as the two passed by each other, Nun was suddenly shocked. She turned around and called out the old man's name, Wang Daoist Sky. Old Mr. Wang, seeing that he had been recognized, no longer tried to hide. "Snow Hard Bamboo, we haven't seen each other in 10 years, right? I can't believe your skin is still so tender after all these years." Disciple looked confused after hearing their conversation. Nun explained, "This old man is the famous top freelancer cultivator in the South San region. He has been my archenemy for hundreds of years. A few years ago, he suddenly disappeared without a trace. I didn't expect to meet him here. Today, I will settle things with him." After saying that, she charged straight towards old Mr. Wang. The old man stood still without moving. The next second, the Grand Martial Emperor's spiritual pressure within her body burst out. He instantly sent Nun flying. Looking at Nun Old who fell to the ground, old Mr. Wang said, "I never expected to meet an old friend like you in my old age. But it's mealtime for the cows at my house. I have to hurry back to feed them." After saying that, old Mr. Wang left elegantly. The nun kneeling on the ground finds it difficult to accept reality. In just 10 short years, we, who used to not distinguish between high and low, have diverged so greatly. What is the reason that caused him to grow up so fast? The disciple on the side awkwardly said, Venerable master, don't you realize it yet? This old man lives next door to the esteemed one. It is quite obvious that it is all thanks to the esteemed one's good fortune. The nun at this moment has lost all hope. There was once a genuine opportunity in front of me that I did not cherish. Only after losing it do I regret deeply. If the esteemed one can give me another chance, I am willing to give all of myself for him. A scheming woman is cursing her ex-boyfriend as a useless person on the street. In the end, she faced retribution at a gravesite. 2 cultivators fell in River P City. Upon closer inspection, it turns out to be the masked woman who trespassed a tomb a few days ago. She told the man next to her that sky demon sects calligraphy chain painting and blow on and on have met the expert, who effortlessly killed the martial saint. It seems she also gained a lot of opportunities from the expert. They did not find much during the tomb robbery a few days ago, so today they must meet the expert and try to benefit from him. Don't think about benefiting for now. Your top priority is to quickly find the expert's address. After speaking, the 2 of them began to accelerate their search. But when they were on the road, the masked woman suddenly discovered a dead body in the city's sewer. She took a closer look and found out that it was actually the loyal admirer who had pursued her before. The masked woman said coldly, I was planning to use this loyal admirer as a backup plan, but I didn't expect him to die like this. Just then, Yi Feng suddenly passed by. The masked woman stopped him and even accurately called out Yi Feng's name. Yi Feng's mind was full of question marks. Oh, how do you know my name? When Yi Feng didn't recognize herself, the masked woman directly took off her mask. It's me. I'm Ping Ying. Do you still remember me? Here is an introduction. Peng Ying is Yi Feng's ex-girlfriend. She rejected Yi Feng because she looked down on him for being immortal. So she later ran away with another man. Yi Feng showed impatience after recognizing Peng Ying. So it's you, he said. At that moment, Yi Feng noticed that the man next to him had a broken leg. He then said, You must not be doing well and want to come back to reconcile with me. This kind of woman in my hometown is called a two-faced bitch. Judging by your outfit, you should have joined the Sword Bitch sect. This sect is indeed very suitable for you. These words have greatly angered Peng Ying. My eyes are not blind. Who would want to reunite with a foul mortal like you? You, a waste without spiritual roots, will only become a stumbling block on my path of immortal cultivation. Yi Feng ignored her, waved his hand, turned around, and left. If we're not reuniting, then I can rest assured. The dog at home should be hungry. I have to hurry back to feed the dog. After all, feeding the dog is much more important than catching up with you. These words completely angered the scheming woman. She picked up the weapon in her hand and rushed towards Yi Feng to kill him. But halfway there, she was stopped by an uncle standing nearby. Killing a mortal like him is as simple as crushing an ant. But don't forget, the hermit we are looking for is living nearby. If we act like this, and it displeases him, it could be disastrous. Peng Ying felt that the uncle made sense, and she put down the knife in her hand to continue the search for the hermit. In the end, the 2 of them arrived at a desolate place in the wilderness. Peng Ying said, I feel like we are getting farther away from the hermit. It would be great if we could have a local person to ask for directions. Just as the words fell, they saw a person sitting on a tomb ahead. The man opened his mouth and said, The short guy ahead turned around and I asked him a few questions. Looking at the short guy in front of them, it turned out to be Sir Skeleton, 2 clueless guys who didn't respect the dead. At this point, they still didn't realize the seriousness of the situation and saw Sir Skeleton ignoring them. Peng Ying's anger surged again. She picked up the toy in her hand and held it to Sir Skeleton's neck. How dare you ignore me, you lowly mortal? This remark amused Sir Skeleton. He was just thinking he had no one to have fun with, and here you come to offer yourself. He immediately turned around and unleashed the power of his immortal being. How should I handle the 2 of you? The 2 of them were so frightened that their drawing styles twitched. I'm sorry, we didn't mean it. It's all a misunderstanding. After speaking, the two of them flew away at a speed as fast as light. Sir Skeleton said to the dog, "Ching, this kind of small fry, I can't be bothered to deal with. You can use it to practice." The dog glanced at the two people running away. The next second, it directly teleported in front of the two people. At this time, Sir Skeleton behind them was slowly walking towards the two of them. Punging looked at the uncle beside him and whispered, "What should we do now?" The uncle replied, "In such situations, never panic. First stabilize your nervous emotions. There are no unsolvable problems in this world. There is always a solution to every difficulty." "Great, you are indeed the great elder of my sword bitch sect. I'll leave it to you then." General Peng hadn't finished speaking when the Grand Elder knelt down directly. "Please spare me, show mercy, and let me off the hook considering I am a disabled person." Upon seeing this, General Peng also quickly knelt down to beg for forgiveness together. At this moment, the screen went black. When they turned around, they saw the two of them lying on the ground with bruised and swollen faces. All their money was also looted. Sir Skeleton and his dog were sitting on top of a grave. They had dug up all the graves in this area. Sir Skeleton said, "It's getting harder and harder to make money nowadays. Today, we dug up graves all day and didn't find anything good. Life is not easy." Upon closer inspection, Sir Skeleton was actually holding a small centipede in his hand. This is indeed the one that escaped a few days ago. The dog just dug it out when excavating the grave. After getting it in his hands, Sir Skeleton started playing with it. "Hey, do you think this centipede picked up from a dead man's grave is male or female? It looks like a male, right? It's really tough for a hero to be stumped by a penny. Now I'm so broke that I can't even afford to date a girl, and here I am playing with a centipede." The dog said, "It's all my fault for being incompetent and not finding the treasure. Why bother saying all this? It's all fate." Thinking of this, Sir Skeleton picked up the small centipede and shook it. Tears streamed down its face, just managing to escape from the dojo, only to be caught again by these two campers. When will this day come to an end? After a while, Sir Skeleton plans to take the dog to dig graves on another hill. The same thing we saw before happened when they arrived there. Two unlucky guys were beaten up by Sir Skeleton. After stealing their treasures, he found out they were all just a pile of garbage. Sir Skeleton sighed again. "Oh, when can we live a life of luxury and extravagance, Ching?" With a sense of doubt, he started to count. Can. No, others count flower petals, he counts centipede legs. The poor little centipede was pulled by Sir Skeleton. It cried out, "Brother, spare me! Please stop pulling!" Sir Skeleton said, "Aren't you fond of playing dead? Why don't you continue pretending?" "Big brother, I was wrong. I beg you, this wise and mighty, unparalleled, terrifying, handsome and majestic boss, spare my life. I didn't expect the flattery of the centipede to actually work." Sir Skeleton actually let him go. "Since you are a straightforward little yogwai, I'll let you off the hook today. Just make sure I don't catch you again. Now scram." After Sir Skeleton took the dog away, the little centipede thought, "If I could follow these two big shots, I wouldn't be bullied in the future." He thought of this and stopped Sir Skeleton and shouted, "Brothers, let me follow you as a humble servant." Sir Skeleton turned around and said, "With your limited abilities, what good are you to me? If you don't leave now, don't blame me for changing my mind." The little centipede hurriedly said, "I am useful, I am very useful. What I usually enjoy the most is digging tunnels. So I know where the money is. I can take my brothers to dig for treasure." Upon hearing this, Sir Skeleton instantly flashed in front of Little Snail. "Are all the things you said true?" "Absolutely true. I dare to swear, and there are quite a few good treasures as well. I am the most proficient in this stuff." Sir Skeleton is really happy. "Good lad, as long as you can help us get the money, I will take you as a little brother. If anyone dares to bully you in the future, just come to me. This little apple polisher. When it sees the dog looking a bit unhappy, the little centipede immediately rushes over and says, "Greetings, dog brother. I think your demeanor is even more imposing than a lion's.